Today we're testing the 2013 KX450F here at Paddingtonga. As you might have seen in the Dirt Rider Down Under magazine, last year we rated the Kawasaki 450 as the bike of the year. It's just really balanced bike, good power, and it's got the adjusting of the different maps that you can run. It's just a really good bike all around. We really liked it. And this year for 2013, Kawasaki decided to stick with what they know, and they've kept things pretty much the same. The only changes that you can see are a white rear guard and the ear fork over here. It's slightly different to what the Honda runs on theirs. This one here runs a 35 psi as your standard, which is a little bit harder than the Honda. And they've also tuned down the engine a little bit, just to make sure that anyone can ride it. With the ear fork, we took the bike for a bit of a ride and just had all the settings on standard, including the mapping setting as well. It's a funny thing, this bike. It's really balanced when you're in the corners and you're hitting bumps and jumps and stuff. It just feels like it's doing what it wants to be doing. It's not trying to fight you at all. So the result of that is, of course, it's easier to ride, and it feels, for some reason, it feels quite light just because of all that. So I tested a couple of the different mapping settings. I started off with the standard, and I found that up top in the higher revs it didn't feel quite to my suiting, so we went to the more aggressive mapping, and yeah, of course, this thing just revs to the moon, but it just keeps pulling you even when you're up there. And I really like the power out here at Paddingtonga. It was nice and usable as well. So, and of course, with the forks, that's the other question some people might have. The forks are running really well. The amazing thing for me was that I was hitting a really hard section out the back, which would usually scare me that it would bottom the forks out and really give me a shock. But I don't know whether it was to do with the air in there or not, but I found that I couldn't bottom the thing out. I actually spun the handlebars down in the clamps before I bottomed the forks out. It gives you a bit of an idea of how hard these forks can go. And of course, they're still forgiving in everything up to that. Personally, I'm really stoked with the detailing. They've gone with the white guard as compared to the black, which I think is a really good move. Kind of makes the bike feel a little bit more flowing. And then of course you've got the blue highlights on the graphics and the forks and some other little blingy bits on the engine as well, which is something that Kawasaki have carried on for quite a few years now, and it just really makes the green stand out. So yeah, it's a pretty sweet looking bike. And of course you've got we can't forget the whole shot switch that we were sort of enjoying last year. And that's just sitting up there on the handlebars, it's waiting for it to be used. So I was able to cut a few laps in for the rider impression, and the bike's really easy to move around on. The seat is nice and soft, but with a bit of grip on top. Sort of a little bit of a chafy kind of grip, but that's fine. Seemed to work okay. And the handlebars and the setup of the bike, it did feel really balanced and central. So combined with the power, it did make for an easy bike to ride, as compared to a few years ago, and it was a little bit more of a handful. So when you got the combination of power that really pulls you out of the corners and really easy, and then you've got the handling, which makes the bike feel nice and light, you've got to give it a thumbs up for a really good bike, and I think Kawasaki have done a good job again for 2013.